One of the questions for the Chicago Bears was injuries. Injuries to their starting cornerback in Jaylon Johnson and their upcoming running back Kyle Monangai. Well, we got updates on both those players. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And yeah, we got good news, good injury news. Jaylon Johnson and Kyle Monangai both made their return to practice today, which is a good sign leading into our Week 1 matchup on Monday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings. Jaylon Johnson was back at at practice for the first time since minicamp in early June. He missed all the preseason games, all the training camp period with a groin injury, and he makes his return. And this is going to be a big season for Jaylon Johnson to really lock in. We've talked about many times how Jaylon Johnson, he's going to get a chance, an opportunity to roam a lot more under Dennis Allen than what he did under Matt Eberflus, and that's a really good thing. Being able to move Jaylon Johnson all around the field rather than just focus on him locking down one side of the field is really going to put him in an opportunity to do a lot of the things that he's been criticized a lot. People have talked about him not having interceptions, those type of things. This is going to be a really big year for Jaylon Johnson potentially under Dennis Allen, especially with the way that he likes to have his defensive backs out there and use them in a lot of different ways. So getting Jaylon Johnson back out there today is a really good sign. Now, he's not been necessarily cleared for Week 1 yet, but this is a really good sign, him getting out here and practice on a Wednesday, that could be happening sooner rather than later for Jaylon Johnson, and so that's good. And then, on top of that, more good news. Kyle Monangai makes his return also to practice today. The Bears have been fairly quiet in regards to Kyle Monangai and what's going on with his injury. And so now you have him, coming back here. And he has a really big opportunity. We don't know what's going on with Roschon Johnson yet. And so Kyle Monangai could very well, even though he's listed as the third running back on the depth chart, he could very well be running back 2 for Week 1, and you're going to need him, both in his pass protection, his ability to run between the tackles, getting him out in the open field, the dynamic runner that he is. We're going to need that. And so, DeAndre Swift is not necessarily an every down back, so you're going to see things spread out and get Kyle Monangai an opportunity out there as well. And so that's really good to get those guys out there. And you want Kyle Monangai, like he is, even though he's a 7th round pick, he offers a really good combination of exactly what Ben Johnson likes to get out of his backfield for the Chicago Bears. And so that is really good to have that running back out there. And, we'll see how the running back room shapes up. There are a lot of kind of concerns and doubts around how good the Chicago Bears running back room is going to be able to be in this upcoming season. But a guy like Kyle Monangai has an opportunity to really make a name for himself his rookie year. And so let's hope that continues to be the case and Kyle Monangai makes a name for himself. And then we also got Jaquan Brisker coming back to practice as well. Now, Brisker being back out there is hugely important, mainly because Jaquan Brisker is in such a unique situation with his injury and not having a contract for next year. And so Jaquan really, not to say he can't afford to miss games out, like most NFL players miss a game or so over the season, but you do not want Jaquan Brisker dealing with any type of long-term injuries or anything like that. If you can avoid that with Jaquan Brisker, that's going to be the most important thing. And while we have some depth in the secondary and at the safety position, they don't bring what Jaquan Brisker does when he's on the field and on the field healthy. And so him getting cleared, hopefully before Week 1, able to play in that Week 1 game is going to be the most important thing for him. And so, hey, you want Jaquan Brisker out there. Where the Bears are a better football team when Jaquan Brisker is healthy on the football field. That just is what it is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So the Bears potentially get 3 players back. before week one that could all be very important for this team, right? All very important for this team. Kyle Monangai, and for different out, especially with Roschon Johnson not necessarily being the healthiest himself and kind of even being inconsistent. We already know what Jaylon Johnson is for the secondary for the Chicago Bears team, and then Jaquan Brisker for the same reason. So getting Jaquan, getting Jaylon Johnson out there, that's going to be a big thing for this Bears team. And I've said this multiple times, the Bears cannot afford to get a slow start this season. You cannot afford to go 1-3 over your first four before the bye week. The Bears, at a bare minimum, need to be 2-2. This is a very difficult schedule ahead for the Chicago Bears, and you cannot take this lightly. You just can't. You can't take it lightly if you're the Bears, and you can't just assume that things are going to be able to break for you. You already have a lot of things heading for you. You got new systems on the offense and defensive side, new head coaches, new coordinators. Got everything in here, and a new system and scheme. We've heard a lot about how Dennis Allen and the coverages that he likes to use is a lot. It's complicated. I mean, a guy like a veteran like Grady Jarrett came in and said, "Hey, listen, the fronts that Dennis Allen are calling, like, it's a lot. We're gonna learn it, but it's a lot." And so, you want everybody healthy from week one, and you want to be able to hit that ground running, because if you do, that's where it's going to be. And we'll see what happens when it comes down to that one. But we're going to continue talking about something that happened earlier today in regards to the Bears clearing $8 million in cap space by restructuring Jaylon Johnson. But first, we got to get to a message from DraftKings. You guys know I love every single sport. All I do is watch sports between NFL, NBA, MLB, even NHL. All I'm doing all day long is watching sports. And because of that, I've decided to team up with DraftKings Sportsbook, have exclusive offer for you guys. New customers can bet $5 and get $300 instantly in bonus bets and $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. All you got to do is use our code BEARCENTRAL at signup. You're already here. You know the name of the channel. Just use that same name of the channel that you watch every single day, Bear Central, to get this exclusive offer. The next great touchdown is coming, and you can bet on it with DraftKings Sportsbook. Tell them Haize sent you. All right, Bears fans. So before we get out of here today, one last thing that I want to talk about. I did drop this in the shorts earlier today because I didn't have a time to break a whole video on it. But the Bears restructured Jaylon Johnson's contract, creating another additional $8 million in cap space for the Chicago Bears. Now, this does not mean, and I want to be clear here, it does not mean by any stretch of the imagination that a deal is happening anytime soon for the Chicago Bears. But this is what Ryan Poles likes to do. Most people will remember at the trade deadline last year, shout out to my boy Crimson, who was like, there's no way that Ryan Poles walks out of here with all his picks. But Ryan Poles does like to make midseason acquisitions. He likes to leave a little bit in his of cap space there to be able to, if anything pops up, if he notices that something needs to be altered or they need a little bit more depth out of position, he likes to be able to have a little cap space, a little flexibility there to make some midseason acquisitions. So this could mean that something's coming down the pipeline, that maybe Ryan Poles already has a target, but I do think the most likely thing here is that it just creates an opportunity for the Chicago Bears to add. Now with the Bears adding $8 million in additional cap space, that puts them at about $14 million in cap space right now. And that's enough to acquire a decent sized contract. Clearing that cap space, it's a pretty nice amount of cap space to clear. They already had $6 million. Now they added an additional $8 million to that. So you're sitting at about $14 million in cap space. And that gives the Bears that flexibility that Ryan Poles likes to have during the season, just in case he needs to make a move. And it's just smart business. It's not like they restructured the entirety of Jaylon Johnson's contract, but it does show that the Bears are looking at every situation and looking at every possibility, and they just want to make sure that if for some reason, whether it be injury, whether it be somebody's not bringing it performance-wise, whether it be a combination of the two, or just a deal pops up that you feel like you don't want to miss out on, it gives you that little bit of flexibility to be able to absorb that type of contract without, needing to walk a tightrope when it comes down to that. So $14 million in cap space is a nice amount. It's not huge, right? It's not as much as we've seen them do in some other times when it comes down to it, but it is a nice amount to be able to add something to this team. And so that little bit of flexibility could be the difference between the Bears making a move that they helps on maybe a wild card push or, God forbid, a playoff push, something like that, going going into the season, and that's just smart GMing. That's smart. That's running a smart front office. And so when you do those things, that's what puts you in a position to be able to make some moves and help improve your team. And while, there's a lot of people that like to criticize Ryan Poles, especially after the Micah Parsons trade, which, by the way, with that back injury, how do y'all still feel about that? But, the fact that Ryan Poles does think ahead like that. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to be a smart move. Chase Claypool was a acquisition, right? And look how that worked out for the Chicago Bears. So you still need to make a smart move, and that's something Ryan Poles is going to have to show and prove that he can do. But it is something that maintaining that flexibility, really smart by the Chicago Bears, and you love to see that happen when the Bears have that opportunity to do that. So that's just where we are right now, and we'll see what happens. Why the fuck Haize look official? Do I look official today? Listen, it's technically season mode, bro. We in season mode now. The drip is exquisite. Wait till y'all see the game day drip I got. I was going to save this for game day, but it was staring at me for too long. I ain't have nothing else for this hat to go with, so I was like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and put this on. I do indeed put that shit on. If y'all don't know, I do put that shit on. But it is what it is. Johnny says, just in time, it's going to be a long season without key players. Exactly. And, as much as we do have depth at the cornerback position, and Deshaun Wright had himself a really good preseason, he's not Jaylon Johnson. And so having Jaylon Johnson locked in is really going to be good. Levante says, practice today, Friday, Saturday, and tomorrow off. Injury report comes out tomorrow as well. Thank you for announcing what we already know. I'm just playing, Levante. I appreciate you, brother. Haize with the drip that had us fresh. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Also, don't rule calling Britton Brown up from the practice. Well, yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I've talked a little bit about that on other episodes as well, that calling Britton Brown up is definitely a possibility there also. Who's winning in a fight when it comes down to Haize or Petty Roosevelt? Well, we're one and the same. It's a draw. Just joined, but good thing we're getting Jaylon back, because Jefferson probably would have made Tyreek his son. Also, the Bears fixing Jaylon's contract signals we may move at the trade deadline. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I definitely agree with you that it does signal that they're at least open to something. They're open for something. I'm personally waiting to see Kyle run the ball. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. Oh, I think he definitely can surprise a lot of people too. Like, Kyle Monangai is not your normal 7th round pick. Now, I still want to temper those expectations, right? But he's not your normal 7th round pick. And I think that's evident via him even coming in and being 3rd on the depth chart right away. Like, keep in mind, like, DeAndre Swift and Roschon have been here. And so, especially Roschon. But Kyle Monangai has a chance, I think, to move all the way up that depth chart by the end of the season. He is that talented of a running back. And so, giving him an opportunity is going to be there. Deshaun Wright is practice squad caliber. I hope Jaylon Johnson jumps in. No, he's not. Deshaun Wright, I'm sorry, he's shown more than most of the time that Jaylon Jones has here. And Jaylon Jones is serviceable too. I'm not here to cap and act like Deshaun Wright is going to be like the next coming of Jaylon Johnson or anything, but I don't think the gap is what you're letting on to between Deshaun Wright and Jaylon Johnson. I think they're probably about hand in hand. I actually think Deshaun Wright may be better in man coverage, whereas Jaylon Jones may be a little bit better in press, but we'll see what happens there. Got to make sure drip, because folks be hiding under Big Mama left titty and don't be knowing that's funny. I got to mess with you, bro. Got to mess with you, man. Hey, Haize, what are the biggest positional strengths and weaknesses of this team? I actually talked about that a little bit on today's daily episode, Piper. So just not to repeat content, go and check out today's daily. Oh, no, it was actually yesterday's daily episode. I talked about the weaknesses with this team. So look out for that one. But I appreciate you guys so much, man. You guys are amazing. I can't stress that enough. Thank you guys for the support here. We wouldn't have DraftKings as a sponsor if it wasn't for you guys, man. So there you go on that one. Make sure you guys are following us at Chi Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And hold on, I got a question. Jaquan Brisker also returned today. I talked about that. I know you just came in late, but Jaquan Brisker returned to practice today too, so there's definitely a chance. Chi-Town